In February 1945, on the volcanic ash of Iwo Jima, a Marine signal officer stood in a cramped command post, his eyes fixed on 6 Navajo code talkers. For 2 relentless days, these men had relayed messages across battered radio nets, their voices cutting through the chaos of gunfire and shell bursts. Major Howard Connor, overseeing the 5th Marine Division signals, later declared, "Were it not for the Navajos, the Marines would never have taken Iwo Jima." This stark claim frames a pressing question: what specific radio networks, procedures, and code mechanics enabled these operators to transmit messages that were fast, clear, and unbreakable under fire? The answer lies in a remarkable fusion of language, discipline, and technology, forged in the crucible of the Pacific War. The story of the Navajo code talkers spans from their first combat deployment in 1942 to the war's end in 1945, embedded in every major Marine assault from Guadalcanal to Okinawa. Their work centered on fieldcraft and radios distinct from the Army's use of Comanche code talkers in Europe, who adapted similar principles to different theaters and equipment. To anchor this narrative, consider the baseline. In May 1942, 29 Navajo recruits designed a code at Camp Pendleton, memorizing every term to eliminate the risk of captured codebooks. Their system allowed a 3-line message to be encoded, transmitted, and decoded in roughly 20 seconds. A feat that outpaced machine ciphers, which often took 30 minutes or more. This speed, paired with unbreakable security, redefined battlefield communication. What follows is an exploration of how this code was built, deployed, and proven under fire, revealing why it became a decisive edge in the Pacific. The speed and security of the Navajo code talker system redefined battlefield communication in the Pacific. To understand how this edge was forged, one must trace the origins of the code itself, rooted in the unique properties of the Navajo language and the discipline process that transformed it into a military asset. In 1942, the Navajo language was an unwritten tongue spoken by roughly 50,000 people, primarily on reservations in the American Southwest. Its complex syntax, tonal qualities, and lack of written records made it incomprehensible to outsiders, including Japanese cryptanalysts trained in European and Asian languages. This linguistic isolation was the foundation, but the Marines did not rely on the language alone. Instead, they overlaid a formalized code designed to be both speakable and secure. The code consisted of 2 layers: a standardized vocabulary of over 400 military terms, such as turtle for tank or hummingbird for fighter plane, and an alphabet system to spell out words not covered by the vocabulary. This dual structure ensured precision and speed, even under the stress of combat. The code's creation began with a civilian named Philip Johnston, a missionary's son who had grown up on the Navajo reservation and spoke the language fluently. In early 1942, Johnston approached Marine leadership with a proposal to use Navajo speakers to transmit secure messages. To prove its feasibility, he staged a demonstration showing that Navajo operators could relay messages faster than existing ciphers. Convinced, the Marines authorized a pilot program in May 1942, recruiting 29 Navajo men to Camp Pendleton, California. These original 29 were not merely translators, but innovators tasked with building the code from scratch. Over weeks, they crafted the vocabulary and alphabet, memorizing every term to eliminate the need for written codebooks, which could be captured by the enemy. This memorization doctrine was critical. It ensured that the code lived only in the minds of the operators, rendering it invulnerable to interception. Training was rigorous, blending radio operation, fieldcraft, and combat skills. The recruits learned to use portable radios, maintain net discipline, and encode messages under simulated battle conditions. By August 1942, the first code talkers were deployed to Guadalcanal, embedded in Marine divisions for the Solomon Islands campaign. From this point forward, they became a fixture in every major Pacific assault, their voices carrying orders, fire missions, and intelligence across jungles, beaches, and volcanic ridges. The code's success rested on its marriage of linguistic obscurity and military precision, a combination that Japanese code breakers never cracked. As the war progressed, the code talkers' role expanded, adapting to new radios and evolving tactics, setting the stage for their critical contributions in later battles. The Navajo code, born from linguistic ingenuity and military discipline, proved its worth from Guadalcanal onward. Yet its true power emerged in the intricate dance of radio networks, equipment, and procedures that allowed code talkers to operate under fire. By 1943, as Marine assaults grew in scale and complexity, the Code Talker's ability to maintain fast, secure communication across chaotic battlefields became a cornerstone of Pacific operations. This section dissects the radio set's network discipline and tactical adaptations that made their work possible, drawing from campaigns like Bougainville, Tarawa, and beyond. In the early Pacific campaigns, Marine communication relied on portable radio sets like the TBY and TBX rugged devices designed for Navy and Marine use. At Guadalcanal in 1942, Code Talkers used these sets to relay messages across dense jungles, often under heavy rain and enemy fire. By 1943, as operations expanded to Bougainville and Tarawa, the SCR 300 backpack FM radio emerged as a workhorse for battalion and company nets, offering clearer signals over longer ranges. At the lowest echelons, SCR 536 handheld compact walkie-talkies enabled platoon-level coordination, while sound-powered phones linked fixed positions like command posts. These systems formed a layered network with Navajo Code Talkers embedded at multiple levels, ensuring that critical messages from artillery coordinates to maneuver orders flowed without delay. Net discipline was the backbone of this system. Code Talkers operated with a memorized vocabulary and alphabet, requiring no paper or code books. This allowed them to encode, transmit, and decode a 3-line message in approximately 20 seconds, a stark contrast to machine ciphers like the Sagaba, which could take 30 minutes or more. Time trials at Camp Pendleton had proven this speed, and in combat, it translated to real-time coordination. For example, during Bougainville's jungle fighting in 1943, Navajo operators relayed fire missions that adjusted artillery barrages within minutes, enabling Marines to outmaneuver Japanese defenses. The absence of written codes also meant minimal repeats. Operators spoke clearly using standardized terms, even as bullets cracked overhead. Terrain and interference posed constant challenges. Volcanic rock on islands like Iwo Jima or urban rubble on Guam degraded radio signals, forcing operators to adapt. Code Talkers paired radios with runners to bridge gaps in range, while field phones and sound-powered lines supplemented battalion nets. At Tarawa in 1943, early radio failures exposed vulnerabilities in battery logistics and signal clarity lessons that shaped later deployments. By 1944, Code Talkers positioned relay stations, strategically ensuring that messages reached division headquarters, even in fragmented battle spaces. These adaptations were not theoretical. After-action reports from Tarawa and Bougainville detail how Navajo traffic maintained tempo when other systems faltered. The Code Talkers' integration into Marine nets was not just technical, but tactical. They operated under fire, often exposed to the same dangers as infantrymen, yet maintained composure to deliver flawless transmissions. Their work enabled a battlefield tempo that overwhelmed Japanese forces, who could neither intercept nor decipher the code. As the Pacific Campaign intensified these procedures, and lessons set the stage for the Code Talkers' defining moments in 1945, where their radios would carry the weight of entire divisions. The Navajo Code Talkers' integration into Marine radio networks, honed through campaigns like Tarawa and Bougainville, reached its zenith in 1945 on the sulfur-streaked slopes of Iwo Jima. Here, under relentless fire, their speed and precision turned the tide of battle. This section examines the Code Talkers' pivotal role in Iwo Jima, alongside earlier assaults, and contrasts their Pacific success with the Army's Comanche Code Talkers in Europe, revealing how code talking became a doctrine tailored to theater and tempo. On February 19, 1945, as Marines stormed Iwo Jima's Black Ash beaches, 6 Navajo Code Talkers assigned to the 5th Marine Division signal units entered the fray. Over the next 35 days, they relayed thousands of messages. Estimates range from 800 to several thousand across battalion and regimental nets, with 0 errors recorded in division signal logs. Operating SCR 300 backpack radios and SCR 536 handhelds, they transmitted fire missions, troop movements, and casualty reports, often from exposed positions, raked by Japanese artillery. Volcanic terrain and constant shelling disrupted signals, yet the Code Talkers adapted using relays and runners to maintain connectivity. Their 20-second transmission times for the 3-line messages enabled artillery to adjust fire in near real time, a tempo that overwhelmed Japanese defenses. Major Howard Connor, the 5th Division signal officer, later credited their work as decisive, stating, "Were it not for the Navajos, the Marines would never have taken Iwo Jima." This was not an isolated triumph. Earlier battles like Bougainville in 1943 and Guam in 1944 showcased the Code Talkers' ability to accelerate battlefield decisions. On Bougainville, Navajo traffic coordinated artillery barrages that pinned Japanese forces, allowing Marine advances through dense jungle. On Guam, their messages synchronized air and ground assaults, cutting response times from tens of minutes to moments. Compared to machine ciphers, which required 30 minutes or more to encode and decode the Navajo code speed, 20 seconds per message gave Marines a critical edge. Japanese cryptanalysts, despite capturing radio traffic, never broke the code, thwarted by the Navajo language's obscurity and the memorized system's lack of written records. In contrast, the Army's Comanche code talkers deployed in Europe from D-Day to the Ardennes adapted code, talking to different needs. Landing on Utah Beach in June 1944, 17 Comanche operators used their language to secure battalion nets, often with SCR 536 handhelds and field phones. Their work supported rapid maneuvers through hedgerows and urban ruins, but Europe's colder, wetter terrain and static lines favored wired communication over radios in some cases. While effective, their role was less central to division-level tempo than the Navajos in the Pacific, where fluid, high-intensity assaults demanded constant wireless traffic. This comparison underscores code talking as a flexible doctrine, shaped by theater equipment and tactics. Iwo Jima marked the code talkers' climax, proving that a speakable, secure code paired with disciplined operators could sustain a battle's momentum under the harshest conditions. Their success was not just technical, but human, a testament to resilience and precision amid chaos. As the war drew to a close, their contributions set the stage for a legacy that would reshape how history viewed battlefield communication. The Navajo code talkers' triumph at Iwo Jima in 1945 cemented their role as a decisive force in the Pacific, their rapid, unbreakable transmissions, enabling Marine victories in the war's most grueling campaigns. As the conflict ended, their story transitioned from the battlefield to a broader legacy, one of recognition, cultural significance, and enduring lessons in secure communication. This final section reflects on their immediate impact, the long-delayed honors they received, and the operational principles that continue to resonate. From Guadalcanal in 1942 to Okinawa in 1945, the Navajo code talkers participated in every major Marine assault, relaying tens of thousands of messages without a single breach. Their speed encoding and decoding 3-line messages in roughly 20 seconds allowed commanders to coordinate artillery air support and troop movements with unprecedented agility. At Iwo Jima, the 5th Marine Division signal officer Major Howard Connor attributed the island's capture to their flawless performance, a sentiment echoed across Pacific campaigns. The code's success rested on its fusion of the Navajo language's obscurity with a memorized, formalized system, a combination that Japanese cryptanalysts could not unravel. This operational edge reshaped how Marines fought, proving that secure, speakable codes could dictate battlefield tempo. Yet, the code talker's story remained hidden for decades. Classified until 1968, their contributions were known only to those who served alongside them. After declassification, recognition slowly emerged. In 1982, the United States established Navajo Code Talkers Day, celebrated annually on August 14th, honoring the operators' courage and ingenuity. Medals, documentaries, and museum exhibits followed, with institutions like the National Wadshantu Museum preserving their radio's uniforms and oral histories. For the Navajo community, the program's legacy extended beyond military valor. Many code talkers returned to their reservations, using their experiences to advocate for cultural preservation and education, strengthening tribal identity amid post-war challenges. Their story became a bridge between wartime sacrifice and the enduring resilience of indigenous peoples. The operational lesson is clear. Secure, speakable codes paired with disciplined radio networks can transform combat. The Navajo code talkers demonstrated that human ingenuity rooted in language and training could outperform mechanical ciphers in speed and reliability. Their methods prefigured modern encrypted voice communication, underscoring the value of simplicity under pressure. For those intrigued by their craft, The question remains, which radio set or battle deserves a deeper look? Was it the TBY's role in Guadalcanal's jungles, or the SCR-300's reliability in Iwo Jima's ash? Share your thoughts and let the exploration continue.